Hiya folks, welcome back to the channel. Sorry about last week, missed a video. The weather was terrible and it was Father's Day and everything, so we just didn't bother coming through to the boat, and unfortunately I don't have a load of stuff filmed in advance for you. So there's a little bit of a break in the way. It's not brilliant, so we're probably not going out today, but we've come down to do a few jobs. A couple of continuations from last time and a couple of new ones, so I've we'll go for it and I'll show you what we're actually doing. So let's come outside. So I finished polishing, well, cutting and polishing the this part of the hull here from kind of the window down and this line down, because I never got to do it when it was out of the water. Unfortunately, I did the other side, but not the port side. So I finished that. So the only bit of it that's not been polished and cut now is this very top bit up here. And that's just because I can't bring myself to get up there. Difficult when you're fat. So yeah, so the thing that I'm going to do today is, this is the little hole in the gel coat we had the other week. So I'm just going to give that a, that's hardened now, I'm just going to give that a little sand back, and if you can see it's still recessed. So I'm just going to sand it back, clean it up, and then put a bit more repair in, because it seems to shrink back as you repair it. So we'll do that, we'll get that done and get another layer in there. And then we've got some new hinges for all the doors and for the hatch and for that door, because if you can see, these hinges are a little bit sun damaged, a little bit rusted and naff. So just got some simple £3 new nylon hinges just to replace them, make it look a bit better. And then in this box we have some sound deadening. Now, I don't know if I spoke to you guys about this before, but the noise of the engine when it's on full chat is a bit vibraty, a bit loud, a bit annoying maybe. And so what we have is some of this. Now, instead of going with the foam based sound deadening that's kind of currently already on the engine room bay hatch, I went for this. Now this is some high density butyl rubber, I believe it is, in silver foil, so it's kind of heat resistant, and I'll show you it. It's self-adhesive, so sticking it on is just a case of there you go. That's one sheet. You see, we're like just a bit bigger than A4. So all you do to stick it on is just peel that back, stick it down and push it on. And with it being quite thin, so my plan is to do all underneath the loft bay hatch or the engine room hatch. If there's any left over, I'm going to do this side with the bulkhead, particularly the metal water tank, because the water tank's empty, so I think that vibrates through, gets up resonance off the engine. And this isn't so much to stop the sound itself as it is to stop the vibration, stop the resonance, and certainly low frequencies. So we're going to try it. It was £44 for this, which is I think 30 square meters, 30 square foot, I think, sorry, not meters. So we're going to stick that on, we're going to see what it does, and see what it's like on its first one. If it works, great. If not, back to the drawing board. I've also got on order some new foam sealant for all the way around, because the current foam has shrank away and doesn't really fit anymore. Unfortunately, that's not arrived yet, so we'll cover fitting that in a future video. And I want to do under that bench seat and under this seat as well with the new foam when it arrives, just to stop those from vibrating, and possibly around the hatch there. So yeah, I'm gonna get to sanding, and we'll get back to you in a bit. So I've just sanded back the hole, just with some 1200 grit wet and dry, and as you can see, hopefully, just going to pull the boat back towards me, that it's actually created quite a matte light patch there where I've sanded down the polish on the gel coat. It's perfectly fine. So once that dry, I'm going to fill that in, a little bit proud, so that when it shrinks back it should dry mostly level. Then I'm going to cut it back again, but this time with a slightly more aggressive, maybe an 800, then step it up to like a 1200, then eventually end up on a 3000 to make sure that it's really smooth and got all the sanding marks out. Then I'll just hit it with the buffer and some polisher, get a layer of polish on top, and that should come up almost invisible, hopefully. So just so you can see it there. And yeah, so I'm just going to let it dry for a bit now before I fill it with a bit more stuff, and then next week I'll sand it back and hopefully give it a polish, and that'll be that done. So yeah, whilst that's drying, let's get in the engine bay. Right, so back in the engine bay again, small space, fat boy. And what we're going to do is, this is the engine room hatch, and we're going to take all this strip off, because you can see where it should be out here, and it's shrank back and rubbed off there. If you look closely along its profile, you can see that it's rubbed one edge as it's shrank, and this hasn't been touched at all. So we're going to take all this off all the way around. We're going to take this off, and these frames, this is the sound deadening excuse that it has at the moment, so we're going to take all of this off. We're just going to take the frame and the whole lot, take it off in one piece, take the fire extinguishers off. Then we're going to give it a good clean, and we're going to leave the prop on for now, because once the prop's off, and the entire weight of this loft hatch is on me, so the prop hatch will be left, and we're going to start in this kind of, well, we're going to start down there where it's square, and we're going to lay full sheets out until we're past the kind of the dog leg. So once we've got full sheets out, and we can do a full sheet up, so we can do it square all the way around. We're going to do that. We'll fill in this dog leg last, and we'll fill in hopefully square over here, and then go around that absolutely last. We're just going to cut out around the bolts so that we're not sound deadening over the bolts, and we are then going to just run a layer of sound deadening over this, and then poke holes in it for the fire extinguisher screws to go back through. Then we're going to poke holes in it to put these panels back on. There's like 10 million screws holding these in, and the new foam strip hasn't arrived yet, so we're going to go without the foam strip for now. But as soon as it does arrive, what we'll do is, to do the foam strip, we'll close the loft hatch with a permanent marker, run a ring around here all the way around, so we know where the inner edge of this sill is, which is where the foam strip should run, and then we'll stick with foam strip to match that, and then this should sit fully on the foam strip. So yeah, we're going to get that all stripped off now, and we'll get the sound deadening put on. And yeah, so lots of work, but on the upside, these things are coming off, so no banging my head today. Right, so that's got the sound deadening off, and believe it or not, those two little squares and those two little frames had hundreds of screws holding them in. I mean, literally, I've taken all of those screws out of just a little square here and a kind of odd shape there. So just going to give this a quick wipe over now with some cloths and then some mess, get as much sticky and grease and any contaminants off as I can. I'm not going to be able to get it perfect because this is old spray adhesive, and then obviously the foam is like, yeah, it's horrible. So I'm not going to get spotless, but it should be enough for the new sound deadening to stick to. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe and then we'll get sticking. And hopefully this won't take too long because the lock is opening soon and I'm going to try and get out if the weather permits and I get done in time. So busy time. Okay, so I thought I should probably just explain what's going on here. So I started by giving it a quick wipe over with some Dettol wipes just to get the general grime and kind of crap off the lid. After that I swapped to using meths on a blue rag, as you'll probably see. That's just to get any grease and as much adhesive as I can off. You don't need much because the adhesive pads are quite sticky, so they will stick over pretty much anything, and obviously it's not smooth underneath, it's not smooth gel coat, it's just kind of raw fiberglass with a layer of paint over. So you're never going to get it perfect. So I did that. And unfortunately, this time lapse, although it's quite long already, the GoPro does actually go flat, so you never see the end of it. But what I did was I got the first few panels on, and then I hold up the plastic frame, and I use a couple of screws in some existing holes that I haven't covered up yet. Because as you can see, I'm covering the screw holes with the adhesive. So as you just saw there, I'm putting the square frame up and over, and then I push a small screwdriver through the screw hole on the frame into the screw hole on the hatch lid, so that I've got at least a couple of screws uncovered, but coupled with the ones down the side, down the central spar. So that way I don't have to worry about covering up all the rest of the holes. All I have to do is put a couple of screws in the top that you just see me punch through, a couple of screws in the side, and then the frame is lined up nicely. So all I have to do is just quickly punch through, and I always hit the hole perfectly every time for all the rest of the screws. And since there is like 30 million screws, yeah, it just saved a load of time. So, you know, if you're ever doing anything like this yourself, don't be afraid of covering the existing holes. You can always punch through it as long as you get a couple of holes piloted first, which is what we did. We used the uncovered holes to line up, to then put the holes through the covered holes, and then those covered holes were through and it's done. And I don't know if you see or if it runs out, but you see me do the same on this side as well. And yeah, so that's it really. It was surprisingly quick and surprisingly easy to complete this work, and these panels are actually almost perfectly sized. There was very little wastage on doing the entire hatch, and yeah, we did kind of line up fairly good. The weird shape on the right hand side was a little bit fiddly, should we say, and there was a little bit wasted on that, but some of the offcuts could have been reused in other areas as well. So yeah, so it came out all right. The one thing that I don't mention in this, and actually I didn't find out until after I'd finished recording, is that the downside to adding all this extra sound deadening in onto the hatch is the hatch now weighs about 30 kilograms more. So lifting it with one hand is really difficult. Yeah, and I'd completely forgot that adding all that extra weight and all that extra deadening and everything was also adding to the weight. I haven't done a before and after sound comparison yet. I'll do that once we're actually able to go out the marina and run it at speed, and I'll be able to report back. So yeah, I just enjoy what's left of the video, and yeah, take care. See you all later. Bye bye. Okay, so after much delay, because we ended up talking to friends of ours, Nico, everything is back on now. You can see all the lovely silver stuff, and you can actually see where the water channel touches. It's putting a flat spot in it, so it'll be dead easy for me to find where it goes. But it's like that all the way around. I haven't done this spar yet, just because I'm running out of daylight. There's a bit underneath the fire extinguishers that I've missed as well, but I've got to do that yet, and I've got enough left, so when I do that I'll touch those little bits up. But it's all on, it's all covered all the way up into the grooves all the way around. See, so yeah, we've got quite a nice good seal, and then I've put the factory stuff back, giving it a quick start. It does sound a little bit quieter. I think I won't know for sure until it's at full speed, but yeah, that'll do it for this week. And then yeah, next time I come down I'll be finishing off that hatch and hopefully sanding down the little hole outside, but I've put a little bit more gel coat in and that'll be done. So spin it around. So that's it for this week. As I say, sorry again about last week and not being around, but hopefully, you know, normal service will resume again. Depends on weather and work, I suppose, but yeah, until then, take care and be safe. See you later.